The insane GM mistake that created an unkillable engine by accident. It is the late 1990s. The auto industry is obsessed with the future. Overhead cams, multi-valve aluminum blocks, and complex electronics are taking over. Ford and Chrysler are throwing billions at high-tech designs to fight off Japanese imports. And right in the middle of this technological arms race, GM is quietly stuffing millions of family sedans with something that belongs in a museum. A massive cast-iron pushrod V6. No exotic alloys. Just a cheap, heavy block born from a desperate, vibrating, cost-cutting accident in 1961. In fact, GM hated this engine so much, they literally sold the tooling to a rival just to get rid of it. Yet, while those advanced competitors blew head gaskets and snapped timing chains, this discarded grandpa engine casually mutated into a 300,000-mile indestructible legend. What is the highest mileage you have personally squeezed out of this obsolete iron? Drop it in the comments and hit subscribe to see how GM's biggest mistake became the ultimate survivor. In 1961, Buick was desperate for a cheap engine. But engineer Joe Turlay did not sit down to draw a mechanical masterpiece. Handed a strict mandate to cut costs, he performed an act of industrial surgery. He took Buick's expensive 215 cubic inch aluminum V8, literally chopped off 2 cylinders, and cast the remaining blueprint in heavy, cheap iron. The result was the 198 cubic inch Fireball V6. But physics does not negotiate. A V6 naturally requires a 60-degree bank angle to rotate smoothly. By inheriting the V8 90-degree architecture, Turlay birthed an odd fire engine. It idled like a diesel tractor, shaking so violently that engineers had to mask the vibration with massive rubber motor mounts. GM executives were humiliated by its lack of refinement. To corporate, this vibrating iron block was an embarrassment. They hated it so much that in 1967, they sold the entire manufacturing tooling to a rival, Kaiser Jeep. GM brass thought they were finally dumping garbage. They had absolutely no idea they had just handed away the exact blueprint that would guarantee their own future survival. Fast forward to October 1973. The OPEC embargo detonated the American automotive landscape. Gas-guzzling V8 engines were suddenly a liability, and General Motors was paralyzed, building massive sedans with no fuel-efficient powertrains available. In a moment of sheer corporate desperation, GM President Edward N. Cole drove down Interstate 75 to Toledo on December 17, 1973. His objective? To beg AMC to sell back the exact V6 manufacturing tooling GM had arrogantly discarded years prior. GM was in such a frantic rush to meet the 1975 model year that they literally used jackhammers to reinstall the machinery back onto its original Flint factory concrete footings. They had their engine back, but it was still an unrefined 90-degree odd fire nightmare. A clean sheet redesign was financially impossible. Instead, Buick engineers executed a brilliant mechanical hack in 1977, the split-pin crankshaft. To cure the violent vibration, engineers split the connecting rod journals and offset them by exactly 30 degrees. Mathematically, this forced a geometrically unbalanced 90-degree block to fire perfectly evenly at 120-degree intervals. By 1988, they embedded a gear-driven balance shaft deep within the block to further eliminate harshness. GM had taken a vibrating cost-cutting mistake and engineered it to run smoothly, all while retaining the massively overbuilt cast-iron foundation of a heavy-duty V8. And the 3800 legend was officially born. Why would not this engine die? The answer is not magic, it is basic geometry and metallurgy. The 3800 was a low RPM pushrod engine built with massive main-bearing journals and a heavy cast-iron architecture. But before examining its lifespan, you have to understand the sheer structural strength of this block. In 1987, this so-called economy block executed a full-scale corporate mutiny. Buick engineers bolted on a Garrett T3 turbocharger with a ceramic impeller and a highly efficient intercooler, dropping it into the legendary GNX. The V6-powered GNX launched from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.7 seconds, humiliating Chevrolet untouchable flagship L98 Corvette, which took a sluggish 5.9 seconds. See, this cast-iron accident from the 60s was producing a staggering 72.6 horsepower per liter, compared to the Corvette 42.1. When engineer Don Miles spearheaded the Series 2 redesign in 1995, he did not ruin it with fragile electronics. He reduced the deck height by a full inch and shortened the connecting rods, creating an incredibly compact and rigid rotating assembly. GM reinforced it with cross-bolted main bearing caps, a heavy-duty structural feature typically reserved for diesel trucks or race engines. Even with its massive cast-iron block, the entire Series 2 engine weighed only 392 pounds. It delivered an ultra-reliable 205 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 230 pound-feet of torque, utilizing a dead-simple 12-valve OHV setup. To understand how durable this was, you have to look at the slaughter of its direct competitors. Ford 3.8-liter Essex 5.6 utilized aluminum cylinder heads bolted to a cast-iron block. The mismatched thermal expansion rates between the two metals caused it to blow head gaskets endlessly, triggering massive dealer service bulletins. Meanwhile, Chrysler modern 2.7-liter V6 was plagued by narrow oil passages. The engine literally cooked its own oil into thick sludge, triggering massive complaint volumes and completely destroying the powertrain. But a true documentary requires absolute candor. The 3800 was not flawless. It harbored one infamous fatal defect. On the Series 2, GM accountants approved cheap plastic intake manifold gaskets. The composite material degraded around the EGR stovepipe, causing engine coolant to leak directly into the cylinders or mix with the oil. In almost any other modern engine, coolant mixed into the oil is an immediate death sentence. But the 3800 cast-iron block and massive bearings were so vastly over-engineered that even with contaminated oil, the engine often simply would not seethe. And it was an engine that tolerated the ultimate mechanical sin, human neglect. But the 3800 was not just a durable slow appliance. When GM bolted an Eaton M90 supercharger to the manifold, they created the L67, and with it, one of the greatest corporate loopholes in automotive history. Officially, GM rated the L67 at a modest 240 horsepower. But any mechanic with a dyno knew that number was a bureaucratic lie. Why detune it on paper? There were two highly calculated reasons. First was the insurance trap. If GM published its true power, insurance companies would classify the Buick Park Avenue and Pontiac Grand Prix as performance vehicles. The premiums would skyrocket, immediately killing their target demographic of middle-class buyers. Second, and more importantly, was GM unwritten V8 protection rule. Corporate executives strictly forbade any V6 family sedan from producing numbers that could embarrass their sacred flagship performance cars, like the Corvette or Camaro. But the streets knew the reality. The L67 delivered immense flat low-end torque. Because that massive heavy iron block was already drastically overbuilt from its earlier iterations, it handled forced induction like a purpose-built race engine. DIY mechanics quickly exploited this corporate loophole. For the cost of a $50 smaller supercharger pulley and a basic computer tune, you could easily push 300-plus horsepower on completely stock internal components. Overnight, this heavy so-called grandpa engine became the ultimate sleeper, pulling up to stoplights and effortlessly humiliating V8 Mustangs. If this iron fortress was so indestructible, why did General Motors deliberately kill it in 2008? The answer is a story of pure corporate betrayal. By the 2000s, GM executives had become entirely obsessed with marketing brochures. They worshipped exotic buzzwords like overhead cams and multivalve. They wanted engines that looked cutting-edge on paper, completely ignoring real-world durability. To chase these false idols, GM poured billions into complex new powertrains, notably the Northstar FIV8 and the high-feature FIV6. The results were catastrophic. The Northstar FIV8 became universally infamous for literally pulling its own head bolts right out of the aluminum block. Meanwhile, the high-feature FIV6 became notorious for chronic, devastating timing chain stretch. The ultimate irony? The 3800 did not die because it failed to pass strict emissions standards. It did not die because it lacked power. It was murdered because its massive iron architecture was physically too large to fit into modern cramped aerodynamic engine bays. It died simply because a cast iron pushrod did not look modern enough to corporate executives. The GM 3800 V6 stands as a monument to a forgotten era of American engineering. Its story definitively proves that when it comes to powertrain longevity, complexity is the absolute enemy. In our blind rush toward modern technology, the auto industry sold us out. We willingly replaced bulletproof cast iron engines that could run for 300,000 miles on missed oil changes, trading them for fragile aluminum nightmares that require a second mortgage just to replace a stretched timing chain. The 3800 was not pretty, and it was not born from a grand vision, but it never betrayed you on the side of the highway. What is the absolute highest mileage you have ever seen on a 3800 V6? Drop it in the comments below. And do not forget to like and subscribe for more automotive deep dives.